Ugly scenes erupted over the weekend in London as more than 100,000 protesters gathered for a Unite the Kingdom rally organised by far-right activist Tommy Robinson. It is the latest in a series of anti-immigration protests across the UK, with some of the most shocking confrontations in Northern Ireland. Tonight on Foreign Correspondent, Barbara Miller travels to Ballymena, where some locals are waging a war on migrants, attacking their homes to run them out of town.
In Ballymena, a hardcore group of locals is determined to drive any remaining Roma out of town and make sure those who left don't come back. This group meets at least once a week, standing outside homes where they believe Roma still live.
Hiya, we're from Australia, Australian TV.
Most people refuse to talk.
Some of these women over there might do it for you.
There's deep distrust here of so-called mainstream media.
I'm not talking.
Why not?
No.
Because we need a
Do I know
woman.
some in Australia, they don't let them in, full stop.
But tell me why you've come out tonight.
Nobody be interviewed. No.
You're not interested.
No, we're not interested.
No,
you have a completely different agenda. We're not talking to you.
How do you
Go
know
away.
what my agenda is?
We don't want to talk to you. Go away, please.
I just think, ladies, you've got a public protest for women's rights.
What your news station's all about.
No one's prepared to tell why you're taking to the streets.
I think the signs say it all.
As you can see, it's pretty difficult. Tensions running pretty high here. This protest is actually, it started outside the house of a member of the Roma community. That's what the locals here have told us. And they've actually handed us a piece of paper which has the addresses, they say, of Roma community members still here, people they would like to see gone.
And Barbara Miller is with me now. And Barb, we saw some ugly scenes there. What has sparked this?
Look, the trigger for what turned into 3 nights of rioting was news in that town of Ballymena, north of Belfast, that 2 boys, 14-year-olds, who were said to be Roma migrants, had been charged with an attempted rape. Now, Roma is an ethnic group. They are concentrated these days mainly in Central and Eastern Europe. Over the past years, hundreds had come to the town of Ballymena, and that was creating tensions. Locals accused them of antisocial, of criminal behaviour. And then came this attempted rape allegation. Locals went out, 4,000 of them, for what was supposed to be a peaceful protest in solidarity with the alleged victim, a teenage girl. It turned into these violent riots, particularly the homes of Roma people were targeted, and some of them literally burned out of town.
And locals meet regularly in Ballymena, and I know you were given a greater insight as to why when someone slipped a note to your producer. Tell us about that.
That's right. We went to this protest that you just saw a little bit of, and someone slipped Paul, our producer, this piece of paper, and it was a typed list of addresses where they said Roma people still lived. This was a couple of months after that violence, after people had been hounded out of town, but that wasn't enough for some of the people in the town. And what they do is they go around and they stand outside these homes, which essentially looks like intimidation. They want to drive these people out. As you saw there, the woman there wouldn't speak to me. Later, a couple of the men did agree to go on camera, and that's in our story tonight if people watch it. And I say to one of them, do you want to drive every Roma person out of Ballymena? And he says yes. He owns that, essentially. Nevertheless, they say they're not racist because they are welcoming of other migrants who come to the town, but they say they had a problem with this particular group of people, and some of them essentially decided to take the law into their own hands.
And this all comes amid a summer of unrest in the UK over immigration. Of course, as we said, 100,000 people to the streets of London at the weekend. Can you talk us through that and also Elon Musk's involvement here?
That's right, a massive display at this weekend march, organised, as you said, by the far-right activist Tommy Robinson, and Elon Musk beamed into that event. And what Musk was saying was essentially that new elections should be held in the UK. Unhappy, I guess, tapping into that unhappiness among some members of the population about illegal immigration. Musk also seeming to almost endorse violence by saying, you know, violence is coming and you need to fight back. Now, this is playing into what's a very difficult political situation for Prime Minister Keir Starmer there. He's on the defensive over what have become weekly protests outside hotels, which are housing asylum seekers, taxpayer-funded hotels housing asylum seekers. He's now trying to speed up the closure of those hotels, trying to do deals with France and Germany to try and stop the number of people arriving in small boats into the UK illegally. And all this, Gemma, is helping Nigel Farage, who's really capitalising on this. His Reform Party is really seeing a massive surge in the polls. But I will point out that actually Farage, Tommy Robinson goes too far for Nigel Farage, who distanced himself from Tommy Robinson, the spearheader of that weekend rally in London. And that actually led to a falling out between Elon Musk and Nigel Farage. So politically, a very fraught time there in the UK.
Yeah, it is. And circling back, Barb, what now for the town of Ballymena?
Well, as we've spoken about, you have this hardcore who's trying to drive out the remaining Roma. Most of the townspeople, of course, will say that they don't endorse what happened there, the violence, and yet they're kind of happy with the result. We speak to one member of the Roma community who says that he won't be returning there. He fled with his family during the riots. And there's this sense now that if people do come back from that community, it could lead to further tensions. So, of course, people who absolutely deplore that violence, condemn that violence, are really trying to work hard to create some kind of community cohesion there. So, again, a tense time, an uneasy calm on the streets of Ballymena.
Barbara Miller, thank you. And you can catch Barbara's work on this week's Foreign Correspondent episode tonight. It's at 8 p.m. on ABC TV and on ABC iView.